Hello everyone and welcome to Spoiler Warning featuring myself, Tom Colohue. I'm a little bit under the weather this week, I do apologise if I've got a bit of a raspy voice. We are of course talking wrestling, talking news, and we have quite a bit to cover today. Our headlines are Tony Khan putting huge faith in AEW's Fight Forever game. We have an update on when that will be released. Vince McMahon looking to settle his lawsuits quickly. Triple H's anger with recent returns. Major WrestleMania entrances being planned. Jay White and discussions on his route to WWE, Triple H being accused once again of poaching AEW talent, the main event status for Mercedes money, and Asuka's place on the roster in the WWE. So quite a lot to cover today, and of course we'll be answering any of your questions that we can as well. There is plenty to discuss, as we know, and I will be taking any questions that we have. So please remember to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already on YouTube. And remember, if you're on Twitch as well, follow along. Spider-Boss says, hi Tom, how long until Trish returns for the team up with Becky and Lita to defeat Damage Control? Firstly, I don't think they're going to defeat Damage Control. I actually think they're going to lose. But if it's going to happen, it'll be in Canada. Bailey says, hello Tom, any news about Alexa Bliss taking time off? And has there been any word if she is considering a career outside wrestling when her contract ends? Her contract hasn't ended yet. There is definitely some interest from outside pursuits, but to my knowledge, Alexa Bliss has not signed on any dotted lines to date. Michael says, hi Tom. Hello Michael. Horsey says, Tom Colohue the legend. Let's go. Sean says, I need Jay White on the Raw after Mania. There will be a Jay White update to come. Simon says, any Sasha Banks Mercedes money or live news? Yes. Richard Smith says, hello all. Hope you all enjoyed watching New Japan New Beginning in Osaka. Lots of good New Japan shows happening right now, and we know that they're trying to gain more traction in the US. Quite successfully so far. Steve says, good evening, Colohue. Big win for your Reds tonight. Hope you're doing well, sir. Doing well, thank you. Watching the game certainly gave a balm, considering how terrible it's been recently. Jaden says, hey Tom. Hey Jaden. Ed has asked, if Tony, as in Tony Khan, had actual proof of tampering, wouldn't he be dealing with lawyers instead of podcasting? Yes. Yes, he would. Because, after all, isn't that the ideal situation if you want to sue the WWE? It's just been handed to you on a silver platter. Steve says, my first question tonight is your thoughts on the return of Rick Boogs to Raw so far. Are you disappointed he's no longer teaming with Shinsuke on SmackDown? And where is Shin at the moment? Shinsuke is still taking a little bit of time off. Several WWE superstars who don't have plans for WrestleMania have been given a bit of time off to go away, rest and recuperate, ready to make a big return after WrestleMania. Asuka, for example, was given time off before the Rumble. Alexa Bliss given time off essentially right now. This is normal. Or at least it's normal under Triple H. I was a little disappointed we didn't get the tag team, but it's going to be happening. Joey says, hi Tom, now that Jay White is going to be free agent soon, do you expect there to be a bidding war between WWE and AEW to sign him? More on that shortly. That says, big up, I've seen the card on Twitter. Not sure what card you're referring to. Backwards says, hey Tom, hope you and all are well. We're doing very well, thank you, Backwards, I appreciate that. And Khalid says, hey Tom, happy Monday Night Raw to you. Well, it's not Monday Night Raw yet, guys. It's not Monday Night Raw yet, but I'm glad you're excited. Carmelina says hi. Hello, Carmelina. And Spider-Boss is excited for Mercedes news. Simon says, hope Liv has an amazing Mania 39 entrance for a triple threat women's tag team match with Raquel as her partner. She did certainly show up and show out last year, after all. Peter says, good to hear the Viper could be back. Indeed, I will recap some of the Randy Orton video later on during this one. I will be recapping what I've been doing over the last few days on the channel in case anyone's missed it. Because YouTube now essentially segregates live, video and shorts, I can afford to repeat myself, because if you're a constant shorts watcher, you won't be watching this video. You won't be watching the Randy Orton update. You'll just be watching shorts. If you're a constant live video, you might not watch so many of the pre-recorded videos, which does pay out when you look at the SmackDown views that we get compared and so on and so forth. People watch this channel for different reasons and watch different videos for that purpose. So I will recap it slightly and encourage people to watch it. Timothy says, hey Tom. Hello Timothy, how you doing? Eric says, hi Tom, I remember the other day you said people in the back were impressed with Liv. Could you see them giving her a money in the bank? Everything is on the table. Christian says it seems like Tony never really has any proof of anything, it's all just word of mouth. The fact that he's not acted on any of it, at least publicly, does sort of suggest that direction. Simon says, with how the WWE booked Liv and Raquel as tag team partners on SmackDown, seems like you were right again, Tom. Shouldn't really be a surprise at this point, to be fair. Joey says, is Tony Khan lying about the tampering or has he been given false info? I do not have a direct line to Tony Khan. I can't confirm at this point in time. Steve says, any chance the third Lashley versus Lesnar match could be a stipulation added via the contract signing this evening? It could. I don't think it will. I think we're very much going to see the formation of the Hurt Business formally at Elimination Chamber, and we are going to see a stipulation at WrestleMania. Jaden says, what did you think of Rihanna's Super Bowl performance? Didn't watch it. It's American football. Doesn't interest me. Far too many ads. Not much actual football. Eric says, did you see the Fast 10 trailer? No, nothing about it interests me whatsoever. I've never seen a single Fast and Furious movie. Just like, these are fast cars. It's about family. All right. Spider-Boss says, is Riddle still in rehab? To my knowledge, no. I believe he's finished, but only just. Barry says, look at me, look at me. I'm going to shout and scream till I'm noticed. Well done, monkey. I have noticed you. I acknowledge that you exist. That says, Tom, what do you think The Miz will have in store for Seth on Miz TV? I think it will be further confirmation of the face turn of Seth Rollins. I think there'll be questions about Logan Paul, and I think Rick Boogs will interrupt. Nelson says, do you think Jay White signs with WWE? More on that shortly. Traffic says, good afternoon, Tom and chat. As always, thanks for the news update. Thank you, Traffic. Timothy says, how's everyone doing? Hope everyone is doing well. Let Timothy know how you're doing, guys. Everyone shout out. Simon says, do you see Carmelo Hayes winning the next men's world title at Stand and Deliver? Yes, I do. Richard says, Tom, who do you want Jay White to sign with? More on that later. Justin says, I read the Good Brothers have a clause saying if they're not going to use us, don't bring us to TV. What have you heard? That is not true. I've heard that is not true. Christian says, with Cody being on Raw, do you see him eventually being added to the OC? No, not in any way, shape or form. Christoph says, Meltzer reported both Usos will be allowed to travel to Montreal, while originally it was reported only Jay got a special permission. Do you have anything? I do not. That is a Meltzer report, so unfortunately at this point in time, it remains a Meltzer report. I've only just heard of it, to be completely honest. I can do some digging, but I find it unlikely I'm going to get anything on that. Christine says, what are your thoughts on Jeff Hardy? Should he retire to remain sober? I don't necessarily think there's a correlation between the two there, Christian. I don't think retirement would guarantee his sobriety. I also don't think sobriety would guarantee his retirement. I don't think there's a correlation there. I think you're kind of making one. Ray says, is it true reports said Triple H has given up on Baron Corbin? More on that shortly. And Backwards says, I think we're going to get Seth Rollins versus Gunther sometime this year. What a match that would be. It really would, and definitely continues the suggestion that Gunther may be moving to Raw. Simon says, do you think Seth and The Miz will talk about Bayley tonight? No. Khalid says, Tom, is Carmella a face now? No. Harry says, Tom, did you see the 2K reveal? Showed all roster of 2K23 and so far no DLC announced yet. Not yet, but after all, they've only just announced the game. Spider-Boss says, it surprised me to see Madcap Moss winning the number one contender match for the IC title on SmackDown. During spoiler warning on Friday, I did say that was the most likely scenario. Over time, I eventually changed it to Rey Mysterio when I was no longer in spoiler warning and was not issuing spoilers. Our first piece of news then is as regards the game Fight Forever. I've got 8 pieces of news. I'm going to go through them. They're all relatively brief, 1 or 2 minutes. And then my plan is, over the course of the next week or so, there will not be a spoiler warning on Friday, by the way, just to be clear. I'm not going to say what I'm doing, but I'm going to have some fun. Over the course of the next week or so, I'm going to remix them into shorts, which should be fun. That means that anyone who doesn't watch the live shows still gets the news via shorts, but after the fact. So you've got to be here to actually get the news, you know? So, first piece of news is as regards Tony Khan and the game Fight Forever. AEW's Fight Forever has been in developmental hell for months, if not years, but we are finally approaching confirmation that the game will actually be released. Tony Khan is still trying to rush the game development to make sure that... to make sure that it can compete with 2K23. However, at this point in time, 2K23 is going to be released way ahead of Fight Forever. Fight Forever will be released late April, early May. Tony Khan believes that AEW can beat WWE to the number one wrestling game in America. He also believes that AEW can beat WWE to the number one wrestling promotion in America, even as shortly as next year. Gotta love his optimism. You've got to love his optimism there. Steve says, who would you like to see inducted in the Hall of Fame this year? I think there's a number of different people. I'd like The Undertaker to be inducted so we can stop talking about him ever wrestling again. It's about time. He's already been, hasn't he? I keep forgetting. Barry says, Hell's Drivers was on TV today. Brilliant British film from 1957. Okay. Deheno Stream says, hi Tom. Hope you're fine. Doing very well, thank you, Henno. How you doing, mate? Joey says, do you think Triple H will drop the ball on Lacey Evans like he did to Corbin since she isn't getting over? No, but more on that later. Simon says, your prediction for Liv team with Natty Raquel in her SmackDown versus Raw 6-woman tag team match tonight on Raw. I think the heels win. Vegeta says, Triple H hasn't dropped the ball when people aren't over. They aren't. What can he do? Spider-Boss says, WWE can't get their women's division over. They bring back Lita. It's like WWE doesn't trust in the women's division. The intention very much is to ensure that Canada gets big pops, because ultimately Canada's going to be very disappointed. Vegeta Lover confirms Undertaker was last year. Yes, but I'm still not sure he's going to retire properly. Barry says, I think the only thing AEW might beat WWE to is bankruptcy. I think they're doing pretty well, let's be fair. Austin says, what's your thoughts about WWE interest in Jay White? That is one of our news items. I will get to that shortly. Peter says, Tony Khan even thinks AEW could beat WWE in rock, paper, scissors. To be fair, that's largely luck. That would make sense and be achievable. Christoph says, you are right, Tom. Tony's optimism is way better than his booking. And Richard says, isn't WWE late announcing the headliner for Hall of Fame? Yes, they very, very much are. Triple H is taking a very different approach to the Hall of Fame this year. Next up, we're going to talk about the current lawsuit situation against Vince McMahon. Now, Vince McMahon is currently fielding 4 different lawsuits from different shareholders alleging that he has seized, basically by hostile takeover, control of the WWE when they do not want him there. That said, these lawsuits do not have much in the way of any actual power, because ultimately he has the 81% share. There is nothing that anyone can do to stop Vince McMahon doing basically whatever the hell he wants. With this in mind, Vince McMahon is essentially ignoring the lawsuits and getting his lawyers to cover for him. He may well be open to a settlement to get this out of the public eye in each individual lawsuit. After all, he can afford it, or he definitely will be able to after making some money on a sale. But he is ultimately unfazed and potentially believes the suits to be slap suits anyway, and thus not something he really cares to pay much attention to. He is confident these lawsuits will go away in time, and essentially believes the old adage, if you ignore it, it'll go away. Thank you very much, Horsey, for that one. That is a £5 donation, and I very much appreciate it. Says, hope you feel better soon, mate. Smash those likes, everyone. Thank you very kindly. I know you've only just become monetized on your own channel, but I'm very, very happy to see just how well you're doing. A little bit jealous. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little bit jealous. You've got a great thing going there, and I'm really happy whenever I dip in and see how well you're doing. But yeah, my throat sucks. Vegeta says, Batista, I believe, is the headline. That has not been announced or confirmed. Backward says, you think we might get a decent Raw after Mania this year like we used to? Yes, I absolutely do. For first things first, I think they will announce the draft. Eric says, do you see Brothers of Destruction getting inducted eventually? Probably. I don't want them to, but probably. And now says, Tom, do you know something about additional plans for tonight's Raw? Maybe. Ross says, the contract tampering is like the Bosman ruling in football. Triple H will obviously do his research to see if he can get through other means. Not everyone will want to move, but some will. To be clear, the Bosman ruling states that you can only approach someone at a certain point of their contract. You are not able to ring someone up and say, how long does your contract last? Very different situation. Also, hey Ross, how you doing, mate? Spider-Man says, I wonder why WWE hasn't given up with Lacey Evans' new gimmick and still isn't working. More on that shortly. Joey says, did you see the backstage video of Santos Escobar giving his mask to Ray? Could they be setting up a storyline in the future? I think we're more likely to see a storyline being set up now, because I don't think Rey Mysterio is too long for SmackDown anymore. Simon says, do you think we see Bum-Ass Corbin or Lone Wolf Baron Corbin or Her Business Baron Corbin next? Her Business, or something entirely new. After all, the WWE do not go back to old gimmicks. They don't do that. Christoph says, basically you mean all those lawsuits from WWE shareholders are useless? Where is justice in there? The justice essentially comes down to Vince McMahon owns the company, and if, for example, if you decided as a viewer of Spoiler Warning to sue me over my control of Spoiler Warning, you're not going to win. Horsey says, thanks mate, means a lot. Can't wait to collaborate when you do your football stuff. It'd be great to chat to you. Absolutely, mate. And that is the plan in the relative future. I can't really commit to near future. It may be something that starts as and when. I'd need to build a team, much like you yourself have. But yeah, it'd be great to work together at some point in the future and do a bit of back and forth as well. Pardon me. Marcel says, how are you? Doing okay, Marcel. My throat's a bit raw, if you'll forgive the pun. If anyone listened to Nick and Tom's this week, you'll know that I was struggling. But I hope you're well. Spider-Boss says, I remember Vince used to bring legends to get big pops on the shows. Now Triple H does the same, bringing back Lita. Yeah, but Trish is the one that's really going to get the pop. Spider-Boss says, fans asking Rey Mysterio to sign them autographs on the airport was bad. Yes, it was, and it always is. Horsey says, is it Bruce who still does the contract stuff? Seems to do a lot of that in the past, i.e. Ron Simmons, etc. The accusation is Triple H particularly. Ray says the WWE need to sign Rosemary. They can't. Ty Valkyrie. They can't. Jordynne Grace. They can't. From Impact Wrestling to make the women's division better. They can't. Venom says, hi Tom. Hello Venom. JJ says, hey Tom, did you see the report saying WWE is positioning Becky and Bayley as all-time greats? I think they really deserve that title. They do, and that's one of the main reasons they are building towards a all-time great match. One of the main reasons they are justifying the exhibition match, non-championship, no special attraction as it were, between the two women. They are trying to make this a dream match, and they are succeeding at it. Eric says, who's your favourite club soccer team? I go to a local team to me. I have a season ticket there. I regularly watch Liverpool. Razar says, did you see the Super Bowl halftime? Nope. Simon says, there's 6 months left on a contract. You can talk to a new club. I don't know the specifics. Horsey, can you let me know? Spider-Boss says, is Bruce Pritchard and Kevin Dunn still in WWE? Yes, they are. Third piece of news is as regards Triple H being monstrously unhappy. So, before I jump into it, please remember to hit like on the video. We currently have 26 likes. Lovely start, 26, and 82 viewers. So if you can, please remember to hit that thumbs up. It does guarantee growth of the channel and really helps us to reach our target and our growth potential. If we're able to, I am still aiming to try and get to 5,000 subscribers by year end, and my target to do so is to try and provide you with the best quality show that I possibly can. If I'm doing that, I'm proud of what we're doing here. So every like goes a long way. Please do consider hitting that thumbs up. So Triple H is apparently monstrously unhappy with several people who he recently brought back to the WWE, including Karrion Kross, all 3 members of Hit Row, Johnny Gargano and Lacey Evans, who he didn't bring back, but who he apparently hates with a passion. Now, I've already dealt with this. I killed the rumour on Friday. If you were in spoiler warning on Friday, I said that none of this was true when asked about it. But now someone else has rumour killed it 2 days later behind a paywall, so now it's in the public eye and everyone's talking about it. So let's address it firmly right now. There is no particular individual named return that Triple H is unhappy with. He's just trying to come up with new ideas to help people get over. He is trying to create a new version of Lacey Evans which fans can get behind, much like he is trying to do with people like Baron Corbin, Johnny Gargano, Hit Row. There will be lots of changes to these characters, lots of evolution to these characters, because he's basically starting from scratch. He is trying to create compelling characters, and that does mean a bit of experimentation. They're not all going to be winners. We can all afford to calm down, wait the moment, and maybe get behind the idea that if one of your favourites is having a redesign, maybe give it a shot. Maybe give it a shot. To be clear, that's not to anyone in here, that's just a very general thing. Spider-Boss says, as personal opinion, Mercedes versus Charlotte from 2016 is better than Becky versus Bayley. I disagree. Disagree entirely. This Becky versus Bayley feud has been building for the past 8 years. Charlotte versus Sasha had already happened several times on the main roster alone. Venom says, what's this about CM Punk going back to AEW you mentioned, Tom? CM Punk has never left AEW. He can't go back. He's already there. Eric says, of all the Triple H bring back, who do you see as the best and worst? I'm not going to go into that on the basis that I don't want to sit here and say this person sucks, which is what you're asking. Nelson says, if these new allegations come out, do you think that makes Vince go? Ultimately, I don't think anything can wrest control from Vince McMahon at this point. He has promised that he will go as soon as possible. But there's more. There is more. They're waiting for their moment, but there's more. Joey says, is it true that potential buyers don't want to negotiate with Vince? I don't know who's reported that, Joey. Can you give me your source? Simon says the airport autograph signing with 7 to 9 fans hounding Liv for them was absolutely wrong. Yep, fans suck. Horsey says, do you think TK is happy with no growth and isn't competing? Bischoff said in his podcast saying maybe he is happy just to be there rather than grow, as they've stagnated at around 900k. He's not happy. Tony Khan is not happy with the ratings that he's getting. He wanted to be in a position right now. Pardon me. Sorry, guys. He wanted to be in a position right now where he was actively competing with the WWE, as did people such as Chris Jericho. He is said to be disappointed. Christoph says, I believe Bayley deserves to win at Mania. I like Becky too, but Bayley never had her big Mania moment so far. Would you agree? I absolutely agree. She had a couple of good moments, mostly involving Charlotte Flair and Sasha Banks, but Bayley's only just sort of stepping out of the shadow of Mercedes money, because her entire run in the WWE up until Damage Control was basically Sasha's sidekick. So it's nice to see her step out, and I think she deserves a win, especially if she's going to be stepping up to people, for example, Asuka in the near future. Ed says, no worse than the Ray fans videoing Ray without his mask and hounding him to sign multiple pieces of merch, but that were totally, completely all for them. Yeah. Fans suck. I repeat it, and I will repeat it till the end of time, because fans still suck. Michael says they put Emma with Madcap, make her lose every match and expect her to get over. They put Tegan with Liv, which could have worked. To be fair, Tegan got a solid reintroduction. They had her in a tag team. They gave her a couple of decent matches, one which involved Ronda Rousey, let's be fair, and also gave her a very, very brief singles feud. At this point in time, the focus is on WrestleMania. She is likely to fade into the background and then be relaunched post-WrestleMania, and once they've had the draft. Peter says, hi Tom, do you watch AEW Dynamite live every week? Nope. Absolutely no. I simply can't do it. Ed says, firmly and formally. Absolutely. Simon says, do you think Bayley versus Becky and Edge versus Balor matches Mania 39 have stipulations? I think it's possible. I don't think Bayley versus Becky will have a stipulation. I think the stipulation is no more Damage Control. Let's just have a wrestling match. Barry says, I hope it's Comrade Corbin, where he becomes a communist character releasing balloons and cameras above the ring and telling people about the health-giving properties of a beetroot and turnip diet. Okay, so what I'm hearing is Dwight K. Schrute. Sean says, hello, Tom. Hello, Sean. Horsey says, you deserve so much more credit, mate. Hate this attitude in the business just to get credit and money. I know why, but it's so distasteful for me. You deserve better. Thank you, Horsey. I appreciate that, mate. And to be honest, that's enough. As long as I've got the support of the people here, that's all I really care about. That's all I really care about. You guys are here. And you're the guys I care about because you're the ones who are listening to this news. You're the ones who gave me a chance, so I'm always going to give you a chance. Hello, noob. I'm doing okay. Hope you're well. Spider-Bot says, do you think that a return of CM Punk to AEW can backfire? Yes, because it's CM Punk, and every single thing he does has the opportunity to backfire. Ross says, what worked on NXT hasn't worked on main roster a lot of times, although there are success stories. The two audiences are very different. I'd say NXT audience is quite similar to AEW. I agree, but that is the audience that Triple H wants to appeal to, and he is trying to make effectively the main roster. No, Richard, nothing on Naomi, and welcome back, Camo. Horsey says, do you think TK needs to focus on storylines rather than super matches? It seems more matches with no story arcs. I don't watch it regularly enough to really be able to speculate on that one. Peter Roberts says AEW is not WWE competition, which you're right. More on that shortly, noob. Sean says a Twitter user has been revealing information about 2K23. They said Indy Hartwell and 2K had a falling out. Indy wouldn't be in the game. That's not how that happens. I don't think you... That sounds ridiculous and you know it, right? Indy Hartwell doesn't work with 2K. She didn't do any of the mocap. She's never met the developers. Why would there be a falling out? That's a ridiculous thing to say. Don't trust random users on Twitter. Just don't do it. Fact check things. Ask why. Mike Rogers says, any news on when NXT Europe will be up and running this year? Depends. William Regal has only just started, as I've said. Simon says, is Johnny Gargano in 2K23? There seems to be some confusion about it. They want him in, but they are still making the model. Ghost, welcome, says, hello Tom and chat, hope everyone is doing well. In my opinion, while rebrands could be a great thing, Becky, Roman, Seth, etc., an excessive amount of new characters back to back in the case of people like Lacey Evans causes more confusion on what to do with her rather than faith that they know what they're doing. Overall, a lot of the people who returned were rehired last year just seem lost in the shuffle, and I wholeheartedly agree with that. I think Triple H took a lot of risks by bringing in so many people in such a short space of time without a clear plan for any of them. Spider-Boss says Bayley's an amazing talent. It's good to see Bayley shine now that she isn't under the shadow. Horsey says I'm not an AEW fan, won't lie. I just see WCW Nitro, to be honest with them. Big matches with no stories. To be fair, that worked for a while. No, Daz, I have not. Joey says, do you see what Corbin's new gimmick will be? No, I've not seen it because it has not debuted yet. Ray says Emma was much better as Tenille Dashwood in Impact Wrestling. Emma had much more opportunities to show what she could do in Impact because of the much smaller roster and not a focus on certain names. Chris Leclerc, welcome. Says Damage Control has been 100 days as women's tag team champions. They will not be for much longer. No, Simon, no word on that. Spider-Boss says one thing is sure, we'll not see Sasha Banks and Naomi on 2K23. We will not. Sean says Johnny put out a tweet saying he will be in the game. Peter says, Tom, did you hear Tony Khan say AEW and WWE hate each other? More on that shortly. Vegeta said she didn't do anything in Impact either. D. Freeman says 2K put out their whole roster lineup today of 125 people on the game with free DLC day one. So, literally earlier, someone in this chat said to me there's no DLC, and here we are with that not being the case. Guys, you've got to check your stuff. Will says, does Tony Khan have an idea why the ratings are low? Does he think it's some of his wrestlers or the booking? He's working on a number of different assumptions. He's trying to generate some buzz. More on that later. Jane says, any Mercedes news? Yes. So, next up. I just want to quickly touch on, before I jump into the next piece of news about WrestleMania entrances, the video that I released on Sunday, so yesterday. It is a video on the return schedule and the return plans for Randy Orton. It is a 5 or 6 minute video that just confirms that Randy Orton is planning a return to the WWE. He is determined and he is doing well in his physio. He will not return before WrestleMania, just to be entirely clear. He is not himself cleared. There is more details on the video. I do advise everyone to check it out if you've not done so already. I would suspect that most of you have, because it has, well, at last check, a quite tasty, over the course of less than a day, 666 views, which not only is a big number, but is a nice number. So massive respect to all of you for checking that video out. Thank you kindly, and anyone who hasn't already, by all means give it a shot. Ooh. As we go into our next piece of news, please remember to hit the like button. We are continuing to try and grow this channel, and every little does help. We have 94 viewers and 35 likes, a great number so far. Please remember to hit like if you can. And if you're just joining us for the first time, or if you joined us a few times and you want to hear more, please do remember to hit subscribe as well. There are plans currently being put together for big WrestleMania entrances for a number of big name stars. The plan essentially is that Triple H is working with a lot of people on an individual basis to try and create the most spectacular entrance that they possibly can. As the big names get sorted out, he will start to filter downwards to other names. So let's talk about who's getting the big entrances. The first name on the list, you're not going to like me, is Logan Paul, but that is not currently being planned because Logan Paul is not currently available to plan it. Logan Paul will get a big entrance this year. Bray Wyatt is likely to get one, but a lot of the focus is being put on the entrances of 3 stars in particular: Becky Lynch, Roman Reigns, and Drew McIntyre. The plans are for the 3 of them to be treated as the biggest stars in the company, with one singular exception. Cody Rhodes will have a big entrance, celebrating his history. Asuka is also said to have a big entrance planned, largely due to new gear and 3D graphics. All of this is in flux and all of this is expected to develop over time. I'll continue to update you, but at the moment Triple H is working with people individually to try and make sure they have big, bombastic WrestleMania entrances that you'll be talking about for years to come. This is, after all, the guy who gave us the tank. Thank you, D. Freeman. Appreciate that. I apologise that you probably had a bot attacking you for it, but thank you kindly. Jaden says, I think Naomi will be in the game. I do not. Nas says, hey Tom. Hello, Nas. Hello, Hassan T. Welcome to the show. Rosal says, how many matches will each night of WrestleMania have? Quite a few. There's already at least 7. Simon says, Mandy Rose didn't make WWE 2K23 either. Yeah, there's the reason for that. Ed says, there is no DLC announced beyond the content of the Ruthless Aggression Pack that will be available day one. Not technically DLC, but sort of kind of is. So confusing. Joey says, is TK bringing CM Punk back to get the ratings up? TK wants to bring CM Punk back. CM Punk is saying, no, why are you doing this? Woody Swain, welcome, mate. Says, hey, Tom, thank you for all of your hard work on the channel. What happened to Becky versus Ronda at Mania? Keep up the good work. Essentially, Triple H realised that the fans weren't really into it, so pivoted a couple of months ago. I reported first here on the channel. If you pop back through the lives, there is a video entitled Becky Lynch versus Bayley at WrestleMania. That is the plan now. I think it was October or November. I think it was October that I first reported it, that the match was going ahead and had been changed. Shortly afterwards, I reported that Ronda Rousey would be entering the tag division with Shayna Baszler, and shortly after that, she started teaming up with Shayna Baszler. The plan essentially was to have Ronda versus Becky, but just the fans weren't into it, and so Triple H decided, you know what, if they're not into it, let's not do it. Which I like. Spider-Boss says, it surprised me to see the downgrade of the women's SmackDown women's division from having Mercedes, Toni Storm and Naomi, than having Emma and Tegan and Chelsea Green and Mia Yim. You've completely ignored a number of different people there. What you've done, Spider-Boss, is named the top women from an era of SmackDown women's division and the women at the bottom rung of the ladder from a different era. So Mercedes, Toni Storm and Naomi doesn't compare to Emma, Tegan and Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green and Mia Yim, by the way, on Raw. What they do compare to is Charlotte Flair, Ronda Rousey, Liv Morgan. Let's not just pull facts from nowhere. Let's remember who we're actually comparing to. Steve Englund says, footage surfaced of Big E in Brooklyn for a local grade school function. Any chance he makes a TV cameo on Raw tonight? I don't think it's impossible. After all, they do want to suggest that he's coming back soon, but he's not going to be cleared soon enough that they are going to start teasing his in-ring return just yet. Eddie Gomez says, I heard at the time. What's your source, Eddie? I'm not going to read the rest of it. What's the source? Also says, does Randy have spinal stenosis? Only ask because I have that and know the pain. Only asked after your amazing Orton video. Well done, mate. Appreciate that, sir. I haven't got direct information as to exactly the situation that he is dealing with. This upcoming Friday. I think we're having a connection issue there. So please bear with me. Thank you, Joey. I apologise for the connection issue that we had there. We froze when I was saying that we will not have a spoiler warning on Friday. Okay, just so everyone knows, no spoiler warning on Friday. Traffic says, God, I can't wait for Orton's return. Could be a great heel challenger for Cody at some point. Ray says, is Tony Khan the best in the world at what he does in wrestling? No. Jaden says, Mandy did make it, but they're not promoting her. Same with Naomi. Alyssa says, how get Roman and Cody in the same ring? By having Cody win the Royal Rumble, which has already happened. Ghost says, I wonder if Randy's already hearing the voices in his head. After all, they counsel him. They understand. They talk to him. Barry says, I got Hogwarts on Saturday. No comment. I'm not going to talk about that. I read the rest of it. It was funny. Horsey said, Tony Khan is not the best at all, so disagrees there. Christoph says, I'm definitely going to check your video. Haven't done it yet, because it seemed that you said Wednesday, but maybe I misunderstood. No, I did say Wednesday, and then I corrected myself shortly afterwards. I mean, maybe that you missed that particular bit. It does happen. I did misspeak and say Wednesday. Sean wants a whole orchestra for Gunter and Mania. I wouldn't hate it. I definitely wouldn't hate it. Horsey says, can't wait to see Bray and Cody's entrances. Joey says, is Uncle Howdy going to get a big entrance? Well, if Wyatt is, Uncle Howdy definitely will as well. Mr. Stumble says, why doesn't Dominic get a special entrance? Because he's not on the list at the moment. I don't know what else to say, really. Peter says, is Roman Reigns going to beat Cody Rhodes? Nope. Simon says, has Liv got any Hollywood roles upcoming? More on that later. Sean says, since Asuka is listed as a heel, will she be amongst the top heels on Raw? Yes. Horsey says, just see dusty images and the Cody celebration's going to be epic. Ross says, the Orton short was a good one, Tom. I prefer spoiler warning format, but shorts work really well. I also enjoy your bonus videos like financial analysis, etc. Thank you, Ross. It was a 5 minutes, so it wasn't technically a short cap at a minute, but I'm very happy with the different styles that I do. It wasn't a spoiler warning format video. It was one of those videos that will be getting attention for the next few months and will definitely rank really well in the search results, so I wanted to give it a shot. Richard says, surprise Charlotte isn't on the list of big entrances. Yet. Spider Boss says, is Gigi Dolan the second top babyface in NXT Women's Division now? I don't know. Simon says, is Sammy going to have his big entrance at Mania 39 and get his old music back at Elimination Chamber? This. I genuinely thought I'd fixed this. I'm not sure what's going on. Thank you guys for keeping me updated on it. Okay. Razar says, if there's one thing we know about Triple H, he loves a big entrance. Not surprised he's going all out for WrestleMania entrances. Alyssa says, Cody Rhodes be open triple threat. Do believe him. It will not be a triple threat. Sean says, Bayley had a couple of WrestleMania moments when she retained in the 4-way at 33 and the 5-way at WrestleMania 36. No Simon, Naomi's not officially left the WWE. Ed says that was for the Wrestling Club and Victor Perry where Big E showed up for today. That's pretty cool. Venom says, do you think Sammy gets his old theme back at the Chamber? No. Maybe. I don't know. This is not something I have anything on. And then, yes, we have plenty of updates on the issues we are having with the stream. Venom says, why no spoiler warning on Friday? Because I'm unfortunately doing something else. I will not be saying what I'm doing because it makes me very findable, but I'm not going to be doing it. Yes, Horsey, there will be a SmackDown watch party. There will not be a spoiler warning, but there will be a watch party. Joey, everything about Randy Orton is in the video. Steve Englund says, speaking of Mania matches, do you think we'll get a special Elimination Chamber entrance for the hometown boy? Again, no idea. Yes, Simon, still a SmackDown watch party. Thomas says, sorry I'm late, what have I missed? A bit on Triple H and a bit on Tony Khan. Christoph says, zero news, and I stopped reading. Thomas says, where do you see Jay White ending up then, Tom? And loved the Randy Orton video. Jay White is our very next piece of news. Thomas, stick around for about 2 minutes and we'll get there. Simon says, are you doing an Elimination Chamber watch-along? Simon, I do watch-alongs for every single WWE pay-per-view. What do you think? Joey says, is Robert Stone going to be paired with Chelsea Green again? Robert Stone, to my knowledge, is not on the main roster, so that seems unlikely. Yes, unfortunately, we're having some connection issues. I don't know why. I did think I had this fixed, but it seems like it's something else entirely. I will be chasing up my my network provider because it's definitely an internet issue and not anything that I'm doing on this side. Not anything that I'm doing on this side. I have a green light and yet it says no data, which is just baffling. So it's nothing I'm doing on this side. It's an internet issue. I am speaking to my provider to try and make it work. Ray says, who is your favourite men's and women's wrestlers in any wrestling company? Jay White and Becky Lynch. Not even difficult for me. I'm familiar with it. Thank you for the confirmation that we're back and working. Horsey says, YouTube has been weird for a week or so. Happened with me this week. I can confirm it's not YouTube. It's actually the streaming software that's the issue. But I do believe the streaming software is having the issue because of internet connection issues. I've done everything I possibly can with the streaming software, but I can see the software disconnecting. And then the YouTube side goes. Yeah, we're definitely having technical issues on the Twitch side. No sound, right. In the hot seat says, do you see any main roster returns or debuts before WrestleMania? No. Dark Society is about 40 minutes late. Did you miss anything? Yes, you missed 3 pieces of news. Yes, Blue Kyber, there will be a SmackDown watch party. Venom, there will not be a Raw watch-along. Blue says, how many matches do you think we might have on each night of Mania? At least 7. Bailey says, this is why Twitch viewers should also have YouTube on as backup. Also good for Tom stats. Well, I appreciate that, Bailey. I'm not going to use the word should. I'm not going to use the word should. I am streaming on both sides for a reason. Some people do prefer Twitch. But overall, I would say it is preferential to me and the growth of what I'm doing to go for the YouTube. If you can only choose one, my personal preference would be the YouTube side. Because if you've got a really busy chat room on the Twitch side, nothing happens. Whereas if you've got a really busy chat room on the YouTube side, you find a lot more people are interested in coming to watch. JY News is up next, Joey. No, Horsey, not Virgin Media. Venom says, if Theory doesn't win, it feels like only other person could win is Johnny. Montez Ford, I feel. Alyssa says, why are people jealous of Cody Rhodes? Nobody's jealous of Cody Rhodes, although he's a very attractive man, so I get it. Joey says, have you looked into getting new software? The software is not the issue. I can clarify that 100%. Steve says, is Montreal the hottest crowd in Canada? I don't know if it's the arena or the people, but WWE shows there tend to be louder. Probably the hottest show in Canada, not the hottest show in the world. Joey says, hi Tom, bad to watch and delay, just got in. Horsey says, is the Raw after Mania still the usual plan? Shock returns and huge yes. Dal says, when are the Battle Royals, do you think, Tom? The pre-shows. And Peter Roberts says, Tom, will you watch WWE Raw live? Nope, I have a full-time job. And if I have a full-time job, I cannot stay up until 4 in the morning. I can't do it. Said it a number of times, and it's simply still the case. The next video that will be live on my channel on Wednesday will be the Elimination Chamber predictions. You may notice over the last few weeks, I've been aiming for a Wednesday and Sunday upload schedule. Plenty of stuff happening about Elimination Chamber. I'll also be doing more on WrestleMania going forwards, and then things about Randy Orton and so on. So, next up will be the Elimination Chamber predictions. Jay White. So, the Jay White to WWE conversation has been popping up a lot recently. Oh, pardon me. Sorry, guys. My throat's not doing well. The Jay White to WWE conversation has been popping up a lot recently. And I have a lot to say on this one, because historically, I've reported a lot on this one. In fact, in 2019, I first reported that the WWE were heavily interested in Jay White. Since then, every year we've heard more about Jay White. He's definitely coming. He's definitely coming. He's definitely coming. He's not definitely coming, guys. His contract is still active with New Japan. Right now. Like, right now, he is still under New Japan contract. Multiple people within the WWE have been trying to convince Jay White to cross the line to WWE for almost 10 years. Even before he won the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, he was someone that there was huge interest in from the WWE. And I don't just mean the people there now. Vince McMahon specifically was interested in bringing in Jay White for a heel run at the very top. A whole lot of people are saying Jay White will not be treated well in WWE. That is simply not the case. They see Cody Rhodes level star power and want to make him the top heel for one of the brands. I've been told that Vince McMahon personally asked people to speak to Jay White over the years about just how open the WWE door was for him. Now, if I was to guess names, I'd be looking at names like Finn Balor and AJ Styles, naturally, as former leaders of the Bullet Club. White also has friends in AEW and has made several appearances there and in Impact, but he seems to be looking for a permanent move to the United States. He's enjoyed his time in AEW. He's rumoured to be very interested in a long-term feud with Jon Moxley, for example, but WWE is said to be more appealing to him at this point in time. If we're talking early feuds, should he be brought in, then there are obvious choices, such as the aforementioned AJ Styles and Finn Balor, but there are also establishment names who can afford losses, such as Randy Orton and Seth Rollins. White versus Rollins is being talked about as a feud that would establish White straight at the top of the card, and that is what Triple H wants to pitch. Essentially, after working Rollins versus Edge and losing, Rollins versus Rhodes and losing, Seth would then be working Rollins versus White, and of course, losing. Blue Kyber, my favourite WWE women's matches. The favourite is the last woman standing between Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair from Evolution, though I also really enjoyed the Hell in a Cell between Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks. In the Hot Seat says, will WWE bring back matches for kickoff shows? They are considering it, but only for big shows. Venom says, no, Johnny deserves it more and is 20 times the wrestler Montez Ford is. Nope, that is simply not true. He is not 20 times the wrestler Montez Ford is. Horsey says, love the prediction videos. This channel has grown so much in 6 months and you deserve it for all the hard work. Thank you, Horsey. I really do appreciate that. And Venom says, will there be a spoiler warning Wednesday or Thursday? Nope. There also won't be one on Friday. Thomas says, Tom, but imagine Jay White versus AJ versus Finn. Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. In the Hot Seat says, having Jay White in WWE under Triple H would be incredible. Spider-Boss says, what do you think about the current SmackDown women's division? I think there's enough people there to make really entertaining matches. I think Raquel Rodriguez has impressed, Shotzi has impressed, and while Lacey Evans is struggling to find a character that works for her, you still have Liv Morgan, Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler, Charlotte Flair. There's a lot of talent there. Venom says, why don't we do a watch along for Stand and Deliver, Tom? Because I have a full-time job and I don't cover NXT. Eric says, I never knew Toni Storm was a top star on SmackDown. She was never treated as a top star. She got one feud. One. Sean says, any updates on Alexa's return? Only what I've already reported. Christoph says, Jay White is still under contract with New Japan despite losing a loser leaves New Japan match. That's a hell of a scoop. Is it? He has a match booked for this weekend. Did you not know that? Simon says, do you think Seth wins versus Logan Paul at Mania 39? I'm not sure on that one. Thomas says, Tom, I will do this because it needs to happen. As imagine how good it will be. Spiderboss says, how many times Seth Rollins will win another world title? Well, I'm not sure how often he'll be able to win another, but it's a difficult question and a really hard one to get behind. Richard says, Jay White WWE match potentials. Wow. Jay White versus Finn Balor. Johnny Gargano. Now says, I hate it always has to be Seth to take the L in feuds. Hopefully he beats Logan. Simon says, do you think Gunter wins the world title this year? Nope. I'm not entirely sure he'll lose the Intercontinental title this year. And Late Night with Jay says, hope you're doing all right, Tom. Doing very well, thank you, Late Night. Not Late Night, Late Talk. Welcome to the show. Great to see you. We have a few more pieces of news to cover, 3 in fact, and a little bit on videos that are upcoming on the channel. If you are currently watching, please remember to hit like. We have 94 viewers and only the 41 likes so far, so I'd appreciate it if everyone here would hit that thumbs up button. But also, if you've not yet done so, please consider subscribing as well. I would very much appreciate it. So, what's left to talk about? How about our headline piece of news? Contract tampering allegations from Tony Khan refuse to die. Tony Khan has stated live on podcasts that Triple H personally contacted AEW wrestlers under contract, telling them to get out of their contracts however they could. Now, despite the amount of different press conferences that have happened over the last few pay-per-views, it's funny knowing that not a single person in any of those media rooms has asked Triple H about these allegations, because they are strong allegations, and it really, I think, would be worth at least trying to ask a question. But it's very telling that when we go into the media scrum after a show, everyone's asking questions in kayfabe and acknowledging Roman Reigns. For his part, Tony Khan seems unlikely to be quiet about this one, but also I don't necessarily believe he's entirely in the wrong, because there is evidence that Triple H has been at least speaking to wrestlers who are under AEW contract. Now, anyone who is stating to Tony Khan that they've been told to leave their contract may well be called upon, because Tony Khan may be forced, one way or another, to provide evidence for what he is saying, and that would very much expose the individuals who did say to him that Triple H had contacted them. D. Freeman says, if Seth wins the US title on Saturday, then faces Logan Paul night 1 for that title, could that main event night 1? Nope. Spiderboss says, which woman of the main roster can afford a loss and still look strong? Raquel Rodriguez, Shotzi, Ronda, Charlotte, Rhea, Alexa, Bianca, Asuka, Bayley. Got a lot of people. Eric says, I really want to see White versus Ospreay. I do think your day will come. Ross says, it shows how good Seth is. They can afford all these losses to help establish others. It very much does, and he gets that heat back with absolutely no time worried. Ed, do you do NXT watch-alongs? Because Venom clearly is looking for one. Richard says, Tom, what is your opinion on really long title... on really long title reigns? Good in moderation. I'm very, very happy with what's happened with the Roman Reigns title reign, though I don't think anyone else in the current position of the card would be able to provide it. There hasn't been a lot of White versus Ospreay in New Japan, to be honest with you, Steve. It's one of those that tends to pop up in the G1 and not much elsewhere. Christoph says, I'm confused here. Jay White lost, a loser leaves Japan, but he's booked for this weekend. How does that work? Well, it's actually quite simple. He's booked for a New Japan show in America. Loser leaves Japan, not New Japan. Of course, he says, is a CM Punk video still planned unless I missed that one? You've not missed that one. What's happened is the situation has changed. Now, I can't go into too much detail, but let's just say the sources and the information I've been able to gather left me wondering if this was something I should be reporting and if I could trust the information that I was getting. So what I've done is kept my mouth shut. And at the moment, that's still the plan. Just to be clear on that one. Yes, Simon, that information is up next. Venom says, just curious, have you ever done an NXT watch along? Yes, I have. We've done quite a few with Ed. I really enjoyed them, but they don't get a lot of traffic, and to be honest, staying up for that amount of time can be quite difficult. Depending on how Ed wants to proceed, we may well do one for Stand and Deliver if it is during the day rather than the evening of WrestleMania Night 1 as it was last year. But that depends on how Ed wants to proceed. Joey says, would Jay White get the Cody Rhodes treatment if he signed with WWE? I believe I did say almost exactly that. D. Freeman says, if Seth wins at Mania, would you bring Jay White in on him the next night on Raw if they could sign Jay White? Well, if they could sign, yes, I would. Blue says, is it just me or does Tony seem to want the feud with WWE? Seems like it's the only way he feels like he can generate heat for AEW right now. You know, Blue, you may be onto something there, but I couldn't possibly speculate. Spider-Boss says, which woman from Stardom do you like to see on WWE? Most of them. That is, after all, where Dakota Kai started, for example. Ed says, I don't do watch-alongs. Too much note-taking to host the post-shows. Though we did have the Wrestling Club found out on Vengeance Day post-show. Steve says, I don't know the laws, but there seems to be a grey area or fine line between talking business and just talking. What do you think? I think if there is evidence that you are talking business, then you're in trouble. No worries, guys. No worries. The clarification is quite small, but they have been quite clever with it. Nelson says, any chances Jay comes to WWE, what's your percentage of it happening? Absolutely no comment. I'm not just going to do a shot in the dark and gamble like that. Late Talk says, if Tony keeps going along with all his tampering talk, hopefully gets a crossover event. It won't. Horsey says, no idea why, but I do see CM Punk back in WWE one day. WWE don't. Harry says, Tom, any news on Randy Orton? Yes, I released an entire video on it on Sunday, literally yesterday, which you might want to check out. Just go to the YouTube channel, click on videos, there it is. And Simon says, do you think Eddie Kingston beats Jay White at Battle in the Valley? Probably. After all, that seems to be his go-home show. And a Spider-Boss says, it looks like Tony Khan is saying anything about WWE and WWE keeps ignoring him. Yeah, and they will. Because if WWE acknowledges AEW, AEW gets talked about. Whereas if they ignore them, nobody's talking about them. The next big video that I'm currently planning for the YouTube channel is something on Cody Rhodes and his WWE comeback, particularly explaining his comeback story, much like the age-old video I put together on Bray Wyatt and his leaving the company and everything that happened there. I want to go into detail as to everything that's been happening since Cody Rhodes left AEW at the beginning of January. There's a lot that I want to discuss, and I want to make a strong, firmly established and well-researched video about Cody Rhodes returning to the WWE. Also, to be honest, I think I'm going to get a lot of hits on that one, so that's one of the reasons I want to do it. I don't know whether that's going to be a Wednesday or a Sunday video, and I don't know when it's going to happen because it's going to take a lot of time and effort, but that is something I'm currently working on. There's a disconnection. There's our disconnect. I was waiting for that. Hopefully it'll kick back in just a moment. The video is not interlaced. I've done all of this. The video is definitely not interlaced. That is not a problem. Grr. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Hopefully we're all back. Please, if you can confirm if we're back or not. I will get onto the Mercedes information as soon as I have got that. Spider-Boss says, I hope AEW give a proper view to Jade Cargill. They're trying, but there's a lot of people involved. So they are trying to give her something that's fitting of the character, but they're asking her for ideas, and at the moment, not every wrestler can book their own stuff. Mercedes money. So there is a groundswell of support from Mercedes fans to try and have Mercedes main event New Japan Battle at the Valley. She will not be doing so. They are referring to it as a co-main event, but she will not be in the main event spot, for one simple reason. New Japan are intending to have Mercedes on screen shortly after Elimination Chamber ends to maximise exposure. If they saved her for the main event, then what would happen is people would turn over from Elimination Chamber, arrive at the New Japan show, realise Mercedes isn't there, realise she's not going to be there for a while, and probably go to sleep. They are not intending that.
Okada versus Tanahashi will main event, as that is a match believed to define the New Japan style, and it will keep and maintain the viewership that they have gained. Oh, my audio's gone, hasn't it? Damn it. This just isn't working, is it? Anyway, it will keep and maintain the viewership that they have achieved. Final piece of news before I go through the comments and ring my provider and lose my shit. Asuka is currently listed internally by the WWE as a heel. It's not been formalised on screen yet, but that formalisation is incoming, much as we saw with Rhea Ripley when she first got the serious call-up. She was going to be a heel against Asuka, so they needed to quickly turn her. This could point to fun future feuds with the obvious choice of Bianca Belair, but also people like Liv Morgan and Alexa Bliss. Joey says, do you think WWE will take legal action against TK? No. Horsey says, as Bruce said before, Coke never acknowledged Pepsi. If you're the top, you're the top. Noob says, do you want to see any of the wrestlers from NWA in either? Nope. Alyssa says, do you think they'll do The Rock versus Roman Reigns at Mania of Society? Says, I wonder how AEW fans would feel if CM Punk returns. Conflicted. Eric says, it's a shame there is likely never is going to be a crossover show. I really want to see Bianca, Cargill, Hayter versus Charlotte, Hangman versus Seth, and Omega versus Reigns. It only benefits AEW, it does not benefit WWE, so there is no reason that they would do so. So yes. My voice has completely gone wrong on the YouTube, has it? Great. Well, thankfully, as everything's gone wrong, we are at this point starting to wrap up. I thought I'd cracked the system, I thought I'd cracked the problem, but apparently not. As I've said, I will be putting this news into shorts over the next few days, so if you have missed anything, just check out the shorts. I'll make a nice little short list of them that you can check out, but in the meantime, I'm just going to wrap up. We will not be doing a watch party. Sorry, no, we will be doing a watch party. We will not be doing spoiler warning on Friday. We will be doing a SmackDown watch party on Friday. That is all the news that we have, though. So, please remember to hit like before you leave the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. We do seem to have stalled a little bit on the growth, but onwards and upwards, and I'm very, very happy with how we're doing. And ultimately, as long as I've got you guys, I've got everything I could possibly need. So, I've been Tom Colohue. You've been fantastic. And I'll see you all very soon.